Now, ongoing reports of alleged corruption in government, specifically concerning the provision of medical supplies as a result of COVID-19, they've been deeply unsettling. Fraud and corruption in medical tenders not only damages the country's economy and reputation, but its ability to care for the sick. On this International Anti-Corruption Day, we discuss what your role should be in saying no to corruption. I'm now joined by Rob Miller from the South African Medical Device Industry Association. Rob, very good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on eNCA. Just expand a little bit on how corruption is the biggest hindrance to the provision of healthcare in South Africa.
Good evening, Tony, to you and your viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. I think the best way to answer that question is to perhaps draw attention to a very current situation, and that is that which occurred in the Gauteng province with the supply of PPE when the COVID pandemic reached us early in 2020. Babita Deokaran, in your lead up to this evening, we're aware that her accused attackers, or killers in fact, are appearing in court. This was a corruption situation in terms of involving tenders for the supply of PPE to the tune of some 350 million rand. And the situation is really brought about by the system allowing unscrupulous suppliers of medical devices or medtech products to enter the system. The ethical aspect, or the ethical side of the supply aspect of devices entails companies that are registered with the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. They need to be licensed. We ourselves, as SAMED, or the MedTech Industry Association, have 200-odd members that are compliant with what we call the Code of Ethical Marketing and Business Practice. And this ensures, if one does the checks and balances, this ensures that decent, ethical suppliers enter into the supply side, and not these unscrupulous
Rob, let's just paint a picture in layman's terms here. When you say unscrupulous suppliers, you're talking about, this is life and death equipment we're talking about. This could mean life and death of somebody who's in hospital, and then a hospital or a clinic procures this equipment from a supplier who is not reputable. Surely both sides are wrong here. Well,
I think it's a question of how many bad guys does it take to make this happen? Because clearly in the case of Gauteng, there were unscrupulous procurement officials that allowed for unscrupulous suppliers to submit product. And to your point, very much so, the provision of PPE that has not gone through the proper channels of safety, efficacy, and so on, does endanger lives. And at the end of the day, the end consumer, as it were, is the patient, and it's the patient and the people of South Africa who suffer under these sort of conditions.
So you've decided to set up the Medical Device Code Whistleblowing Hotline. Talk to us about that.
Well, SAMED, as the industry association, established a whistleblowing hotline, and I may just add that the Health Sector Anti-Corruption Forum, of which we are a signatory, or one of the early signatories to it, also have a whistleblowing hotline. And this is a process where anybody who's aware of unscrupulous supply practices may contact either SAMED or the Anti-Corruption Forum, and effectively blow the whistle on what may be going down. And I think the SIU at the moment, I think they're investigating something like 45 cases of unscrupulous practice. So these whistleblowing hotlines do work.
They do work. It's just protecting the whistleblowers sometimes. That's a bit of a difficult issue, isn't it? Rob, talk to us about, you mentioned the Health Sector Anti-Corruption Forum, which was launched by the President in October 2019, which you're part of as SAMED. Has that brought about any positive change at all since its launch?
Well, I think, again, by way of example, I think, you know, the whole digital vibes issue is one of the issues that have been investigated. And whilst that may not be in the actual medtech supply space in terms of product, PPE or otherwise, the HSACF is really doing a good job in terms of exposing unscrupulous practice.
And prosecution, are you seeing prosecutions take place?
Well, you know, I think we all share an element of frustration. You know, is enough being done? Is it being done quickly enough? And that's really not a question that I can answer in this forum.
Rob, thank you so much for speaking with us this evening. Oh, all right. Rob Miller there from the South African medical device industry, talking to us about, I suppose, the concern of the corruption within the medical sphere.